couscous and carrot, broccoli and coconut, peaches, apples, apricot, breadfruit, jackfruit, sour sap, pistachios, cashews and almonds, walnut, peanut, also pecan, sesame seeds, sunflower, lemon, orange, pineapple and melon.
There is literally something that I just cannot get out of my head. And I've been bicycling back and forth in the park. And there are some things that I have in my head. And there's something that I also feel like bringing forward. So now we've been doing like vlogs here in Japan a lot. We've been editing videos in the meanwhile, although we'd rather just produce more videos. It's just really difficult. But that's not what's on my head. Sometimes we have been talking about some like critical stuff, or being critical towards like animal agriculture and such, mostly just whaling since we came here actually, just making like a few notes while out traveling or something like that. That is usually what we do. But I haven't like done into like deep into like the philosophical questions and such, and that's something that I really got to bring forward. So for a long time I've actually been making really harsh videos where I confronted people. I talked about this before, that I used to be more aggressive in my videos. Biggest part of that is due to me just realizing that I got a stable following, because I really tried to get people in from being aggressive, but it was easier being aggressive before I dove far into philosophy and just realized that, well, most likely morals are subjective. I think I was much closer to being somewhere on the lines of being a moral objectivist before, because I just didn't give it enough thought. But with the realization that nobody are wrong in their beliefs necessarily, it was really hard to tell people that they're wrong. However, I think I can say to people that they are wrong within their own moral systems. And this comes very deeply into human nature, because there are certain things in human nature that is just so fundamental. And I don't really know where to start with this. It's just such a deep thing that I've been thinking about now. Well, a lot of people has gotten frustrated, angry, and even offended on vegans' behalf when people go into a comment section and comment, bacon or something like that, or go into a vegan's face, I really like hamburger, And honestly, we're grateful that people stand up to such rude behavior, because people recognize this as rude behavior. But one thing that I got to tell you is this is actually the most honest thing out there. I think they are the most honest. The people who go like, bacon, you have no idea how honest they are. Because if we do outreach, reach out to non-vegans, trying to talk about different issues within veganism, people don't walk up to us and say, oh yeah, I would go vegan, but it just tastes too nice. Some people will do, and that's honest. But most people don't. Most people make some other type of arguments. Some of them are, we need to have an open landscape, and thus we need grazing animals. Specifically in Norway, that is a very common one, like, you see, like in Norway, we cannot avoid animal agriculture because there's so much grassland where we cannot produce wheat and potato, so we really need to have animals out grazing. And that is a very, very big argument that people make. People also say like, if we didn't breed this to begin with, they would not exist, because people care about species existence instead of their well-being or individuality. Really weird. And some people go the length of saying we need protein, we need B12, we need omega-3 fatty acids, and such. Like, not only are this false in the realms of we can get this nutrition from other sources, but there's more to it, way more to it, because a lot of people will make other arguments, and these are the most common arguments. They say, I don't think it's wrong to kill animals as far as they're treated nice and killed humanely. Can you turn the sound off on that computer for a second? I'm getting messages in. Can you turn off the sound on that computer?
What?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, turn the sound off. Where was I? Yeah, so people care. So they care about animals' well-being. Go on. But they don't care about taking over the life. And why is that? Well, I have a suspicion about this. So, what does it look like to kill an animal humanely? So they care about humane slaughter and that they're treated nice. Why? Is it that they really care about them? Well, let me ask you this. Why do you care about humans' rights to life? And the most obvious things, like the most logical, would be that we recognize that things we care about in our lives, like we care about our existence, we care about our well-being, we don't want this to end. But as soon as we talk about other humans, then that are not the values we care about. Then it becomes something like, oh, it's species, oh, it's the level of intelligence, it's the level of social structure. All of a sudden, that is the things that is worthwhile. And usually what I do when people make these claims, I run the name the trait argument, specifically what is true of an animal that if true of a human would make it okay to stab them to death. And if you put it into the realm like intelligence, okay, will you be fine with killing a human with the same intelligence as a cow, for example? And people would often, instead of facing this logically, they would say, oh, but that's so offensive to compare humans and animals. Like, people would not be even fine with acknowledging a hypothetical and call it a comparison to such a degree where it's not even comparison of different traits. They make like a complete category difference in like similar ways. Like, okay, but this is a plant and this is an adjective. There's no like comparing similarities and differences between the two. Like, it's almost like we're not talking about animals. It's not like we're talking about mammals, for example. And I think that's just dishonest. Honestly, I think it's dishonest, and I think I know exactly why. I'm actually quite certain I know the answer to this. So it's easy to stand up against like cruelty to animals, although it's standard practice to gas pigs in gas chambers with CO2, which is harmful. But hypothetically, we could start using carbon monoxide, which doesn't create harm. They just only use it because it's not safe. It's not painful, but and it's not costly, but you can't smell it. So it's a huge safety issue. And hypothetically, we could breed up chicken who don't grow bones that will just crack, for example. That could be a possibility. Like, it's theoretically possible to do so. There are rules being broken, but theoretically we could create better situations. And although only 2% of animals live on pasture lands or see the sunlight, it's theoretically possible that all animals could experience that. So that is basically what people keep their hold on. But the one thing that you only recently can get away from is the killing. And lab meat isn't easily available at the very moment, but like, let's go 10 years back in time. There is no lab meat. The killing is an absolute necessity. And why do I think people are fine with the killing? It's because it is absolutely necessary, and people have chorizo, bacon, Korean barbecue, kebab meat, bratwurst in their back of their head when they're saying, I think it's okay to kill animals as far as it's humanely and they've lived a happy life. I think that their taste pleasure is more important than their moral views. And you don't believe me? Well, if you're a carnist and you don't believe me, allow me to bring you into a hypothetical scenario. So, just close your eyes for a second, and I'll just use some simple hypnosis here, like nothing much. It's just listen to the sounds in the room, okay? Open your eyes slowly and you see the things, different things. It's a computer in front of you. Okay, outside of your walls there is gardens, houses, but there's also supermarkets. There are deli aisles of meat that is legally purchasable. You just give them some money and you bring it home and you cook it and you eat it. There are steakhouses, there is sushi restaurants. You can go for like Korean barbecue or so what. Just imagine all of these things that you can legally do. Okay, what if I told you that recently there has been a comet going down to Earth, bringing with it a virus that spread worldwide, and it got into the meat of all animals. Like, don't worry, it's not dangerous. It's actually harmless to people as far as it's in your muscles. But it becomes toxic as soon as it gets into contact with stomach acid. Okay, but don't worry, we know how to get rid of this. And it's through a shock response that can only be made by taking hot iron and pinching an animal for 5 minutes while they're still alive, because the shock reaction will kill off all of the virus, but at least 5 minutes is necessary. Don't you think that in this instance, in this world that I now put you inside of, that you thinking about all the burgers, hot dogs, chicken nuggets, sushi and beef that you have access to, that your argument would go from being, I think it's okay to kill animals as far as they've had a good life and they're killed humanely, to, you know what, I think it's okay to kill an animal humanely, and they're treated well, and they've only experienced 5 minutes of hot iron to their body. I think that is morally permissible. And if you think this is just, if you still say no, I wouldn't be fine with that, keep in mind, it's like in the real world. We have the deli aisle, we have the restaurants, all your favorite meats. Like, you can go out, have a Bavarian sausage and just go to McDonald's, get a burger and some fries and have some chicken nuggets. It's legal, it's culturally permissible, but we have to not only kill them, but we also have to burn them with hot iron sometime during their lives. Do you honestly believe that your morals surrounding animals is due to some kind of thing in your moral compass, or is it simply taste pleasure? Just think about it for a second. So you want to consume animal products. Isn't it logical then that the reason why you are not fine with torturing animals is simply because it isn't a given? Killing is a given. Thus you're fine with it because you want to consume these products. So I'll ask you, is it then so fishy that people come with these arguments then about like how good it tastes? Isn't really your reason for killing animals or eating them bacon?